I have lived my entire life listening to and singing along to or playing music. Beautiful musicians today. Thank you all so much. It has always been the one place where I can crawl deep into myself and find something new and exciting. Even when I hadn't learned what it meant to really trust people, I trusted music. I trusted music and what it did to and for me. One of the ways music was expressed for me and that I felt most connected to from my younger days to this morning was how I would literally beat on everything. Everything. The kitchen table over dinner, which my mother still cannot stand, but I still managed to do. My desk at school, which I would sometimes get into trouble about. My own body. How many of us do this? All the time, all the time. Everything around me was a drum, ready to be played. I remember being in band and desperately wanting to pick up a snare drum. How many of us were in band when we were younger? Some of us, a few of us? Yeah. Desperately wanted to pick up a snare drum. But I was often discouraged because, at least as it was told to me at the time, which I knew I shouldn't have believed, but I did anyway, it didn't require the same rigor that other instruments did. So I was discouraged from playing. So playing drums remained a kind of far-off fantasy and fixation that I held close for decades and decades, not really understanding why. What I believe I was searching for and wanting to be more connected to was already inside me, but hard to access because I didn't actually have solid words for it. I didn't understand what it was that I was seeking. I could somehow feel it, but I hadn't learned how to touch it. I believe what I was feeling has been expressed so beautifully by so many over the years, but I have deep appreciation for this author named Sherry Mitchell. Sherry Mitchell wrote a book called Sacred Instructions, Indigenous Wisdom for Living Spirit-Based Change. And in it, she writes this: "We are part of a universe, a universe, a collection of individual notes in one continuous song, the song that sang all life into being. This song is the drone of the musical universe and is the foundation upon which all structure is built. If we listen closely," she writes, "we can hear this creation song echoing in our bones. It exists in a vibrational frequency that emanates throughout the entire universe and resonates deep, deep within us." Mitchell goes on to talk about how each of us carries a unique vibrational tone that is built upon that universal tone, and that within it is a seed that carries our life path within it. It's beautiful. As I read on, I began to think about what's possible within us, what's possible in community and on this earth if we tap into that vibrational tone with intention. When we can acknowledge and really feel the roots of my life seed connect to yours and yours to mine. I think it's probably where that interconnected web of existence has meaning. As much as I long to be a drummer, and despite how much I beat on everything, rhythm always felt actually really external to me, something that was outside of me, simply the patterns of sounds and silences in music. It has shape and texture, sure, but I never contemplated what it meant to be attuned to my own internal rhythms. I especially didn't think about rhythm in relation to my connection to another person or to everything and everyone around me. This world, as it is and has been for a long time, has not helped me in this. Does not help any of us in this, actually. A chaotic kind of intensity that exists all around us is normal in this life, isn't it? There are a million things, all the time, almost never stopping. So much that is external, material. Focus on anything internal and connected is harder than perhaps it ever has been. Stilling our bodies and brains enough to really hear that creation song echoing in our bones often feels like too great a challenge to overcome with all the things all the time. We named some of them earlier. We know what they are. All of the dings that our phone makes, right? The work deadlines, news alerts, what other people want from us. On a broader scale, what can we think of that gets in the way of this deeper soul connection? What are some things that we might think of on a broader scale? For me, is this idea that we aren't valued as much as what we produce, right? Some of us might think capitalism, war, this idea that we see lifted up everywhere, that we are always meant to be at odds with each other. All of these things. So what do we do? What can we do to shift the tide of things like this, to build a new way? How do we do what your own website invites people to do, which is to awaken to love, which I thought was beautiful? One answer is to make it all stop for long enough that we can experience something other than the noise of this world. I appreciate a good retreat space for something like that. But perhaps the real question isn't how to press pause. Maybe the real question is, how do we find the right rhythms that ground us into being? I believe a beautiful place to start is to always remember that there is something more and better and more beautiful than all the stuff that keeps us from flow. Maybe that's why I never stopped drumming on tables or steering wheels or my own knees. Maybe some part of me was always trying to remember something. Trying to remember that before we are consumers, before we are workers, before we're afraid of each other, we are vibration. We are breath. We are rhythm. We are part, all of us, a part of a bigger song. And so perhaps the sacred work of a life is not creating the song from scratch, but learning how to listen for it. And to relearn, to retool our bodies to listen for it again. Because I believe this was a skill that we used to have as humans. I believe we could do this at some point and have lost it along the way. How do we reclaim it? Not the frantic rhythm this world hands us. Not the rhythm of production or competition or endless urgency, but the deeper rhythm underneath all of it. The rhythm that says, rest matters. I know a lot of us don't rest. I'm going to say that again. Rest matters. Grief matters. Joy matters. Abundant joy matters. Community matters. Silence matters. And love, abundant love matters. The rhythm that reminds us that no heartbeat survives on its own and that we are a part of a long line of creation and humanity. I was actually thinking about this today, that my hope, I believe that this is why Memorial Day has been so meaningful. From the earliest recorded mass observance of Memorial Day, organized by formerly enslaved black Americans in Charleston in 1865 to this moment. And when we begin to find that rhythm inside ourselves, something changes. We become more capable of recognizing it in other people. We move differently toward one another. We stop treating each other as obstacles or threats and begin encountering them as fellow notes in the same sacred composition. Maybe awakening to love is exactly this: learning to live in tune, to become quiet enough, brave enough, grounded enough, that the creation song echoing in our bones can guide us more than the noise surrounding us ever will. Maybe the invitation before us today is not to escape this world, but to help compose a different one. One rooted not in chaos, but connection, not domination, but accompaniment, not isolation, but shared rhythm. So may we listen closely, friends. May we trust the sacred pulse within us. May we help one another remember the song. And when the world tries to pull us back into noise and dissonance, may we return again and again to that precious rhythm, that divine flow that has been inside us all along. May it forever be so.